Glad to have you with us here on this edition of Seattle Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. I am your fearless leader, Tyler Jones, here with you. Thanks for joining us. We got a new report from ESPN that profiles Nick Emmanwori, one of the newest members of your Seattle Seahawks. We'll tell you what ESPN had to say, let you hear from some people like Kam Chancellor, Mike Macdonald, John Schneider, Brady, Henderson, and more, and react to it all coming up in just a matter of moments. Before we do, folks, since we're talking all about Nick Emmanwori today, let's give him a warm welcome to Seattle. And this is a point that I like to drive home to remind the folks from time to time here on the channel. When we get new players here in Seattle, we don't know who's watching. Could be Nick Emmanwori himself, maybe a family member or a friend. They want to see how they're being received by the fan base. And so let's go ahead and make sure that we're putting our best foot forward and let them know we're excited to have this guy here. Hit the like button. Let's get at least 1,000 likes on today's video and let Emmanwori's crew know that we're excited to have him here. Hit that like button. We'll get started with today's show. So if you're like me, I don't like to read much. So that's where this video comes in handy. We're going to go over all of the details of this ESPN report and break it down piece by piece with what you need to know. And it's pretty fascinating getting to know Nick Emmanwori a bit further as the football player and also what Seattle saw in him when they drafted him. And where I want to start with this is with a Seahawks legend in Kam Chancellor. And it's fascinating. Kam Chancellor, who had a fantastic career here with the Hawks, he personally reached out to Nick Emmanwori. And that's not unusual by any stretch of the imagination. But what I find even fascinating about this is that it was actually prior to Seattle picking him. So Kam was already looking at Emmanwori and saying, hey, you're doing a great job. I'm excited to see you at the next level, without having any idea that he was going to be a member of the Seattle Seahawks. So to me, that's pretty cool and says a lot about Kam Chancellor that he was going out of his way like that to reach out to Nick Emmanwori, and then he just happens to be playing for Kam Chancellor's former team. And they share a special connection, actually. Torian Gray, he coached Kam Chancellor at Virginia Tech, and he also coached Nick Emmanwori at South Carolina as the position coach for each of them. And that's pretty incredible to think about just how far they've come, that the two can hold that connection there. As we were talking on the live show yesterday, a classic 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon comparison here. They're only 1 degree off from each other, sharing that same coach. And Nick Emmanwori talked about his communication with Kam Chancellor, and he said this. He just told me the same thing that Coach Gray was telling me about how teams thought I was a box safety or I was a linebacker, and he proved them wrong. He sees some similarities in that, and he was like, I can't wait to watch you in the NFL. Can't wait to prove them wrong. And John Schneider is also drawing the comparisons to Kam Chancellor with Nick Emmanwori. Schneider said that physically, Emmanwori looks like Kam Chancellor, that he reminds him of that. Now, he did go on to say that he's got a lot of work to do to become the player that Kam Chancellor was, but did say that they see a lot of similarities, especially in the physical assets when it comes to Nick Emmanwori there. Personally, I think if he's anywhere close to Kam Chancellor, who's one of the best to ever put on the uniform in this defense, I think that's huge. I think we need to simmer expectations a little bit. I know a lot of people have been talking that they think they found the next Kam Chancellor here in Seattle, but let's just take this step by step. I think Nick Emmanwori is going to be fantastic, but if he is even just close to that, I think we all should be thrilled as far as that goes. Not saying that he won't be Kam Chancellor someday, but at least for now, if he can just show some flashes, I think this team would be very excited if it worked out that way. More on Nick Emmanwori coming up in just a moment, but I want to ask you guys on our pinned comment today, does Nick Emmanwori remind you of Kam Chancellor? It's our pinned comment today. You might get an ad break while the ad's playing. Get your votes in. Let us know what you think. Type Y for yes, in for no. Way in the comment section. Tell us what you think. So one of the things I said on this show when Seattle traded up in the second round to draft Nick Emmanwori was that I felt like Nick Emmanwori was a first-round talent, and that with the draft pick of Grey Zabel, that Seattle essentially was getting two first-round caliber players with their first-round draft picks, and with their first and second-round draft pick, that is. And in Brady Henderson's latest report from ESPN, talking to Seattle personnel, they feel the same way. Listen to this. General Manager John Schneider and Coach Mike Macdonald and their respective staffs had enough conviction in Emmanwori's potential to become a difference maker in their defense that they considered moving back into the end of the first round to get him. Having already taken guard Grey Zabel with the 18th pick, after talks with the Philadelphia Eagles fizzled on day one, Schneider landed Emmanwori a day later by trading up 17 spots to get him with the third pick of the second round. While that move cost the Seahawks one of their two third-round picks, it left them feeling like they had just landed two first-round players. Schneider said that he had Emmanwori rated right next to Zabel. Now, you look at Emmanwori, the resume he comes in with is as good as any player you're going to find at his position in this draft. A first-team All-American, a first-team All-SEC selection with the South Carolina Gamecocks, a difference maker in his 3 years there. And when we talk about value, not just the player itself, but the value, with Emmanwori being a first-round talent that Seattle viewed on their big board, being right up there with Grey Zabel as a player that they could have selected at 18, for me, this was my favorite pick of this entire draft. When you factor in all-encompassing, the type of player they're getting, who I think's got potential to be a star in this league, and to get him in the second round, and to trade up to get it done, I loved what Seattle did here, and I think you're going to love what you see from him for many years to come. Do you believe in Nick Emmanwori? Be honest with me. Weigh in the comments section. Tell us your thoughts. Type B for believe, D for don't. Chime in the comments section. Tell me what you think. Seahawks Today is bringing you the best Seahawks coverage you won't find anywhere else, as we have our daily news and rumors, sometimes 2 and 3 videos a day. Live shows each and every Monday and Wednesday. We're also bringing you breaking news, Q&A mailbags, and more. There is no off season here on the channel, folks. We're going to keep you posted with everything you need to know on the channel like no one else does. And I got to tell you, I'm so excited about what we have been growing here on Seahawks Today, and we're not slowing down. I want at least 20 subs off today's video. That way you can stay up to date with everything on your favorite team. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/SeahawksTV. You'll be glad you did. So then the next question. Now that Emmanwori is here, what exactly does his role look like, especially when you consider the safety room is pretty good with a Pro Bowl caliber talent in Julian Love. Kobe Bryant had a strong finish to 2024 in just his second year playing the safety position. Where do you put Emmanwori in this defense? And the thing that I keep going back to is, might I remind you of a guy by the name of Kyle Hamilton of the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens already had a good safety room with Mike Macdonald as the defensive coordinator and calling the shots on that defense. And yet they still brought in Kyle Hamilton. And Kyle Hamilton, they found ways to plug him in. Whether it was safety, whether it was the nickelback spot, they got him involved. And now he's developed into one of the best safeties in all of football. And personally, I like Kobe Bryant, and I hope that they extend him and bring him back. But he only has one more year remaining on his rookie contract. So we don't know for sure what his future holds. So Nick Emmanwori, worst case scenario, could be a replacement down the line for Kobe Bryant. But Mike Macdonald, talking about the comparison to Kyle Hamilton, he said this: I think what we found with Kyle is that the system allows for us to get multiple safeties on the field and also to be in the slot kind of with enhanced coverage responsibilities. He can affect the game that way, kind of at the second level while training at the third level. Gives us some depth at the safety room, guys that we currently love that are on the roster to be able to affect the game early on in his career too as he starts to develop. Same story with Nick. So they're seeing that same thing with him. In his scouting report, I mean, it's pretty impressive when you look at this and you can see that, okay, you'll find a way to make it work, that he'll get on the field. Rare size and movement with those comparisons to Kam Chancellor we talked about. A run-first defender, which is what Mike Macdonald is looking for in this defense. He's a very strong tackler. He's got quick feet in coverage, narrowed vision at times, but I think that'll be something that he improves over time as far as that goes. We'll have more on Nick Emmanwori coming up in just a moment and get you some more from Mike Macdonald and also go over some of his experience and kind of talk about that potential role for him in just a bit. But want to know, who was your favorite Seahawks draft pick? I told you mine's Nick Emmanwori. Who is yours? Give me a name in the comments section. No wrong answers, whether it's Grey Zabel, Jalen Milroe, or somebody else. Chime in the chat and let us know who comes to mind. Speaking of those rookies, we have their jerseys on sale now at chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. Whether it's Grey Zabel, Jalen Milroe, among others here, you can get those jerseys with the number that they select. It's all in one place, chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. Maybe you're not one a rookie. Maybe it's one of the new guys like Sam Darnold or Cooper Kupp. We have their jerseys available at that same link. Go check all of them out right now at chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies to get yours today. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. That's chatsports.com/Seahawks rookies. Now, there is a very unique profile when it comes to Nick Emmanwori and all the things that he can do. In 2024, he was one of just 3 FBS players in all of college football with 300-plus snaps at the safety spot, as well as 100-plus snaps at slot corner, 100-plus snaps at outside linebacker, and 100-plus snaps at inside linebacker. This guy can do it all. He can literally do it all, folks. And I'm not worried about a crowded safety room here. This guy is too good not to find the football field in some capacity, in some way, shape, or form. You got to have athletes. I think about, as a KU guy myself, Mark Mangino, who is the greatest coach in Kansas football's history. When he would recruit guys, one of the things that Manginius would do is he would say, I'm looking for athletes, and I'm going to find a way to put them on the field, and we're going to maximize their talent and come up with the best team that we can possibly put together based on the athletes we can find. And I think you have to think about that in that same light with Nick Emmanwori. Sure, the safety room is really good, but with that said, Nick Emmanwori, there's no reason for him to be sitting on the sidelines. He'll find a way to be active and be involved in some way. Coming off a season as an All-American where he had 4 interceptions, 2 pick sixes, 6 pass breakups, 88 tackles in 3 TFLs. His season prior to that, his sophomore campaign, was really good as well with 2 interceptions, 10 pass breakups, and 71 tackles. Still a very young football player that's just now starting to come into his own. More from Mike Macdonald on Nick Emmanwori. He said this: he's been a guy that our whole staff has been really excited about the whole process. How do you watch his tape and not just see the potential of what he can become? To our coach's credit, they really felt strongly about it. It's our job to kind of make it come to life now, which is the fun process. If you do it the right way, I really believe it can be something really special. And one of the things I mentioned in the pre-draft process, when we were evaluating Nick Emmanwori and looking at the possibility of Seattle drafting him, was I said right away, this looks like a Mike Macdonald guy. That if you were to build a player in a lab for Mike Macdonald of what exactly he's looking for in a defensive back, Nick Emmanwori would be pretty close to that. And I think of, John Gruden, who is still one of my favorite coaches in football. I hope he gets back to the football field at some point. He's always got his Gruden grinders, right? We got to come up with a term for Mike Max type of guys. Maybe it's the Mac Attack players or something. He's a Mac Attack guy. Nick Emmanwori is. And I think this is going to be fun. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds. And the best is yet to come, my friends. If you enjoyed today's show, hit that like button. We certainly would appreciate it. I'm Tyler Jones. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time here on Seattle Seahawks Today.